I think that's a good learning lesson for a lot of people, not just you, man. So I'm sure it's opened up a lot of people's eyes here. This is the value of a coaching session. I'll say it here because there's some things that need to be fixed for sure. You're driving the right racing line, which is good. But these things are going to be hard to like fix through trial and error, like looking at YouTube videos and stuff like that. And this is the reason why I do these replay reviews. So, guys, if you want me to watch one of your laps, you'll get a lot of value out of it. Trust me. Just join the Discord. First, I already complimented on your choice of racing line. It's good. Car placement is fairly good. In most places. Where we're gonna look at car placement is gonna be Sunset. We're gonna fix two things. We're gonna fix racing line in some places, and then actual input. And then there's a disconnect in terms of like feeling the grip. You're not quite feeling the grip. Is the problem? It's part of the problem. You don't really know where the limit of the car is, and you're guessing. And so, two things to go fast. You got to use the right racing line, and then you have to be on the limit of the grip of the tires. Those two things, right? So you're doing number one fairly good. Number two, not so much. And then there's some fundamentally wrong inputs. The way the inputs are being applied are fundamentally wrong. Okay. So first things first, Sunset. Not on the edge of the track. Got to be on the edge of the track. Also, the racing line is a wide racing line with these cars. The car needs to be over here. Okay? So you need to find the right racing line. The turn in, you're turning in almost like a GT4 line. Prototype, they turn in around here. Okay? Right before the one cone. These are the answers, by the way. And then exit looks pretty good and everything. I would avoid being so close here. Look how the car bounces. It's a little bit too much. You kind of want to be. Let me bring out my drawing tool. You kind of want to be here. Like you want the car to be here. Like that. You're like this, right? And over the bump. So what you're looking for is this. Okay? All right, that's the number one thing we're going to fix in terms of racing line. Now we're going to come back here. And then another one here. Not on the edge of the track. At the turn in, not on the edge of the track. Early turn in, too early. Okay? So now I could just keep like a little dash right here and go to every single corner and you might be a little bit off. See that? Edge of track. All right. Look at that. Edge of track. Huh? Look, I didn't draw it again. I just put it there. So there's definitely something there that needs to get fixed. This is good. In terms of edge of track. Okay. So you got to fix Sunset. The Sunset line is really killing you. Okay. You got to get to the edge of the track. And now here's the thing that's going, before we even address like the grip issues, like you're feeling the limit of grip and all that, I want you to just take a look at your inputs. Just look at your inputs here. I'm going to play it in slow motion. Hey, Ty. And I want you to tell me what you think. Okay? All right? Now, we know we missed this corner. This has nothing to do with you missing the corner, FYI. Nothing. Nothing to do with you missing the corner. I'm going to play it one more time. So, Mark, anybody else who wants to chime in? Inputs wise. What is fundamentally wrong with the inputs here? Okay. Until you fix this, you're going to consistently drive the car incorrectly. And you're costing yourself time in the long run for sure, short term as well. You're heating up the tires for no reason. And you're messing up your braking point. Right? So, really, the exercise that you need to do is let me go to paint, desktop. What we need here is right, telemetry. Full throttle coming into the corner. Release the throttle. Application of brake. Threshold, release, trail, apex. This is the apex right here. On throttle. Confident throttle. Okay? This is what we need. Okay? And you need to focus on this. And what you need to do is, right now, this is a movement for you. This is like one movement, right? When you're getting to the braking zone, you're thinking brake and release at the same time. What you need to do is you need to break these two apart. They're two separate things. In order to fix this, because it's a really bad habit, I'm telling you, you need to release the throttle. So release the throttle. You have a release point. Then you have a brake point. And you have to practice having a gap between them. Okay? Once you have this mastered, you're making the corners, right? At the same time, you can work on being on the edge of the track while you do this. Once you can successfully do this without messing up the corners, then you can start inching your way back on the throttle of release until the overlap is less than half. Less than half is ideal. Ideally, it's no overlap, in my opinion, but less than half. Okay? Once you do that, come talk to me and we can talk about actual like feeling the grip, because I can see like in your inputs, you're not quite feeling the grip. You don't really know when the car is at the limit. So that needs to get fixed. That's more complicated though to explain. You can't really explain. You gotta almost like, that's the light bulb moment that happens like in a coaching session while you're being directed. Do this, and like you start feeling certain things. Okay. So, hey, I'm sure Dario's a good coach. So, I'm sure he knows these concepts. He's fast, but I'm better. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, this, if you've had a lot of coaches, like I'm sure he's told you not to do this. I'm sure this is probably something. That's how bad of a habit it is. So you guys can see, this is how bad like habit. Once you build a habit, there's no going back, guys. I'm telling you, there is no, like, it is really difficult. Really difficult. This is why it's best to learn how to do it right the first time than try to correct mistakes. Okay? So, and remember what you were saying. You don't have, you weren't feeling proud of any of your laps. You would have found a lap that you were proud of. This would have still been present. The edge of track would have still been present. You wouldn't have fixed those two things. I'm telling you, write those two things down. Put it right next to your monitor, post-it note. Look, I don't just say this. Look, I have my post-it notes. I literally have my post-it notes and I have my Sharpie. And I write it down. And I put it right here, right on my screen whenever I'm working on something. Because you know what's the first thing that you do when you go and practice? You push for lap time. You need to really sink in that I am not going for lap time. I'm doing a car control exercise. Car control exercise. I'm not trying to go faster. I'm trying to execute the car control exercise to fix the bad habit. All right. Enough of my rant. But thanks for sending that in, Mark.